you guys, Coach Hannah here. Welcome to my live on weight loss and what the hell are macros. Sorry for the weird glare and the fact that I'm literally just sitting here by a window, but I'm the genius who forgot to charge my phone before the live, so my phone battery could die at any moment, so I am near a wall charger, so sorry for a weird glare if you can't see me very well. But today we're kind of talking about, I'm going to take you back to former me, the girl who was overweight, unhappy, had never heard of macro tracking. I'm going to take you all the way back and meet her. Then we're going to meet the girl that took it way too far. And then we're going to talk about current me and kind of how it can apply to you and help you lose weight in a successful way, conducive to your lifestyle. So former me, before I lost weight, I had struggled with my weight my entire life. I'd never heard the word macro. If it fit your macros, macro tracking. I didn't use an app in my phone to track my food. I understood concepts. I mean, I had a doctoral degree in physical therapy. I knew how to exercise. That's definitely an area I excel in. But just I didn't know anything about nutrition specific to me. I was like, all right, I know, chicken's healthier than maybe a burger. I know maybe egg whites are a leaner option for breakfast than, a burrito. But how much chicken do I have to freaking eat? Can I ever have a sweet potato fry again? Just the really specific nuances of how to actually lose weight for me eluded me. And I would just scroll on social media and I'm just like, what are macros? Why are these girls that are actually, they look like they're in shape. They're eating these massive desserts or massive portions. And I'm like, I want some of that. What the hell is this stuff? So I had to figure it out. So I did that with a coach and I needed to learn what macros were. So to me, learning macros was solving the puzzle that had eluded me my entire life. It told me how much protein I need. It told me how much carb I needed. It told me how much fat I needed. And it opened up all foods. It wasn't like you can't ever have a tater tot again if you like tater tots. If you don't like them, don't eat them. If you don't like salads, don't eat them. Just the flexibility and freedom blew my mind. I was like, okay, so this is the secret code. This is how people lose weight, tracking macros. So let's go over what that actually is. Tracking is just another word for counting, logging, just keeping tally of your three macronutrients. Your three big macronutrients are protein, fat, and carbohydrate. So macro tracking is like calorie counting, but on steroids, the healthy version. We're not taking drugs here, people. But basically, it's instead of just saying I eat low calorie, macro tracking gives you certain ratios. So X, you're aiming for about this percentage of your calories coming from protein, this percentage of your calories coming from fat, this percentage of your calories coming from carbohydrate. Yes, there's normative ranges, but it's different for everybody. But what it does is it really incentivizes your body to lose the weight from your fat stores and not your lean muscle tissue. The best thing you can do is keep your metabolism going as fast as you can when you're trying to lose weight. And the biggest piece of that is your basal metabolic rate, which is 60% typically of the calories you're burning. And how to get that as high as you can is have muscle. Yay! So if you start tracking macros and you're actually getting enough protein, you're incentivizing your body to say, hey, I'm going to leave your muscle alone. I'm going to take it from the fat. You're trying to get your body to lose fat, not just weight. That is how you get that lean, toned physique that you see girls walking on the beach and you're like, damn, I'm not into girls, but damn. That's because she's probably eating enough protein to keep that lean muscle tissue. We all know what it looks like, when you see a girl that might be classified as, that skinny fat or just they're tiny, but they just don't look very healthy. You're like, are you okay? Ugh. There's a very good chance if she has lost weight, she also lost a lot of her lean muscle tissue, so she doesn't really have much shape to her form, nor is her metabolism going to be moving very quickly. So tracking macros is, yes, you are in a sense counting calories. It's kind of like Weight Watchers, but with a lot more science behind it. So you're actually sculpting the physique that you want. Your body's going to look banging. That's the whole point of it. And you also learn a ton about what you're eating. For example, everyone's like, oh, I eat plenty of protein. I have peanut butter every morning. I'm like, that's hilarious. Just because something happens to have some protein in it doesn't mean it's a good source of it. That's a fat source. So it not only just teaches you how much of something you should be eating to manipulate to get the body you want, it just teaches you what's in food. So I was like, we cracked the code. This is how you lose weight. You track macros. I just need to hit this number of protein, this grams of carbs per day, this number of fat, and then you have to adjust them throughout the process. That's just normal. But I was all in. Oh my gosh. This has been the secret preventing me from losing weight for like 20 years. Let's do it. So perfectionist me went from, okay, you told me I need to have, I'm just going to throw out, I'm literally making up numbers. This is not what you guys need to be eating. But I'm like, all right, I need to eat 130 grams of protein a day. I need to get 50 grams of fat a day. And I need to get 180 grams of carbs a day. Check, check, check to the gram the whole time. I was meeting the goal, or if I was a gram off, it was like, well, the day wasn't perfect, so fuck it, eat everything. That's who you see in the middle picture of my post from yesterday. So if you guys saw it yesterday, or if you're watching this after the fact, it's just going to be right before this video on my feed. I got lean. I got it. I got that body that I saw other people have. And I was like, got it. Yeah, I use macro tracking. I can eat whatever foods I want. But in reality, I had created this really, really restrictive, narrow mindset around how to track macros. I either met them or I was fuck it mode. I never took the time to learn any balance with macro tracking because it was like a drug for me. I had been wanting to lose weight my whole life. I remember feeling overweight in elementary school. I remember middle school. I remember high school. I remember undergrad. I remember grad school. I remember graduating, all of those things. Never once being happy with my body. And I finally found something that was working after 20 years of trying anything. You better believe I was drinking that Kool-Aid all day. I was not about to stop. So I was so narrow-minded that for me, that was the most important thing. And that's why my results are so drastic. And they happened in a reasonable time period because I was with a coach that was smart. But in general, I didn't tell my coach, I didn't tell anyone that I was avoiding eating out. Or I would just say, oh, I'm not hungry if I was, grabbing, lunch with some friends, and then I would go home and eat later. Or I would eat before I went and then just say I wasn't hungry or that my stomach didn't feel great. I was lying to get out of not having control over my food. Not healthy. So that was the girl in the middle. I had done it. I got the body. I learned what macro tracking was. I got protein, I got fat, I got carb, we're eating vegetables. I know how to manipulate those foods to get the body I want. Yeah, so stoked. And then it started to just negatively impact my social life. Hey, Andy, go grab some drinks. I'm like, I'm really tired. So then I started realizing, shit, I got the body of my dreams, but now I don't do anything fun. All I do is I sit at home and I'm super stoked that I finally lost weight, but I'm not going out as much. Yeah, you do need to make sacrifices to lose weight. That's not what this is about. You have to, sometimes you're going to be hungry if you're in a calorie deficit. Sometimes you have to say no when you want to say yes to the extra drink or the appetizers or the dessert. There are sacrifices that need to be made to be successful in a weight loss journey in moderation. I said no to everything. That's no way to be. So I ended up getting really stressed out. If you've been following me for more than 3 seconds by now, I'm a pretty bubbly person. I'm upbeat. That's just who I am. And I was always just flat. I turned my just type A perfectionist, which was served me quite well in grad school, into I felt oppressed by macros instead of using it as an empowering tool to help me achieve a body in which I felt really comfortable in. I was super stoked in. I was just totally feeling myself and enjoy a social life. I forgot the social life component. So instead of using it as a tool to supplement my life and make all aspects of it better, I use it as a tool to get the body I want and sacrifice everything else, and I became oppressed by it. So that doesn't mean macro tracking is bad. That doesn't mean that happens to everybody. But for type A's like me, you're at risk. So you have to learn how to balance. So for me, it took a while and a lot of work, and I worked with other coaches, I've worked with dietitians, I worked with a therapist, and which is all what makes me a better coach, because I've lived it. I know how you feel, and basically I learned that just because coach says, you have to eat, 120 or 130, whatever I said earlier, I don't remember, grams of protein a day, close-ish. Close enough is good enough. Let's say that day you're supposed to eat, let's say 130, and that day you hit 118. Okay, cool. Great job. You put in effort. If they said eat 50 grams of fat, I think that's what I said earlier, and you hit 56, solid win. You did a great job. That was lost on me. The close enough is good enough. And it took me completely stepping away from macros and trying to figure out things that way to realize that I liked the structure. I like to be able to log something in a free app on my phone. To me, it's kind of like a Tetris game. It's a little fun puzzle, but it's realizing that macros are not so black and white. It is not, if you don't meet your X number of protein, X number of carb, X number of fat to the gram, you are not doing good enough. That is not it. And that's why macros is also considered a tool in flexible dieting, because close enough is good enough. And if you go out to eat and you get some tacos, you just eyeball, okay, I had 2 tortillas. I don't know, that was probably 4 ounces of shrimp in there with some lettuce and a blob of pico de gallo and sour cream. Close enough. Couple tablespoons of that, and you can log it and just don't even forget about it. It's when you lose the ability to step away from tracking perfectly, you lose the ability to enjoy the flexibility of what macros even are. So basically, let's rewind it back to macro tracking. If you pull out like one of those like online calculators, anything like that, let's say you find 4 of them online. You enter your height, your weight, your age, your activity level, your weight loss goals, you're just entering all your stuff, and you find 4 different free online calculators, you're probably going to get 4 different recommendations for your calorie goal and for your macronutrient distribution. That doesn't mean any is necessarily incorrect. Some might be a little bit better for you than others, but that's where you lose the you have to just like lose the idea that there's one perfect way, because there's not. Just because there's normative values of someone should be getting X number of their macros from, or X number of like their like percentage of calories from fat and X percentage of calories from carbohydrate. Protein is one that you really do need to but like prioritize. But if you just prefer a higher fat diet and you can adhere to that more, do that. And then you just take the other calories away from carb. If you love your carbs and you really don't care that much about the fat sources, then you might do better on a higher carb, lower fat option. It's more about sustainability and adherence. So macro tracking is just a way of counting calories, but doing it a lot more strategically to use science behind it to transform your body into the one that you want, that looks healthy, that looks strong, you look fit, you look like you did it on purpose. You didn't just kind of lose weight and everyone just wonders if you're feeling okay. Is she sick? That's what calorie counting and like other things like Weight Watchers or, just like programs that aren't individualized to you can do. They can make the scale go down, but your body might not look like what you were anticipating if you didn't prioritize the macronutrients a little bit more strategically. Again, that would be proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Yes, you want to be eating other things like vegetables that have a lot of micronutrients, but I'm going to say something that might make your head explode. Vegetables are carbs. So it's really funny when people tell me they just don't eat carbs as they're sitting there eating like a big bag of carrots and an apple's next to it. I'm like, well, that's just nothing but carb right there, but cool, great, solid choices. So that's what macros are. The proteins, fats, and carbs. How you distribute them, you kind of want to start in some normative ranges. Protein needs are higher if you're in a diet than if you are just maintaining or even trying to build muscle. But the biggest thing is they are not so black and white. So when I learned what macro tracking was, it took me from that post I made yesterday, that picture on the far, I think it was the left, where I had been struggling with weight my whole life, and macro tracking was the treasure map, the map to the treasure. It was the key to solving the puzzle. It was the answer to my prayers. It was everything. And I was so excited about it that I let it kind of completely engulf me. And I wouldn't change it. I learned a lot, and I'm a way better coach for it because I've made the mistakes that a lot of clients can make, and I can help you not make those things because I've lived it. So macro tracking is a great tool for fat loss, but it is not something that needs to be controlled to the gram, to the calorie, every single day, team no days off, because that completely negates the whole point of being able to choose foods that you love. There's no off-limit foods. If you can fit a Pop-Tart in and you've had, enough fiber for the day, enjoy the hell out of that Pop-Tart. You know what? If you want to go out with some wine with your girls, have a glass of wine, they're going to order maybe like a little charcuterie board, you want some cheese and some crackers, you should be able to just preemptively log quite a few carbs. All right, I'm going to have 2 glasses of wine. I'll probably snack on some crackers and some cheeses. That's all carb and fat. So I'm going to prioritize some protein earlier in the day, and ta-da! You had a great, solid day, and you're able to enjoy a social life with your friends. So macro tracking is such a great tool. It's easy to take too far, but if you use it right, you can apply it and learn so much about your food choices, and it can be a really, really great supplement to just, in general, a healthy lifestyle. So that's really what I wanted to cover with you guys today. First, I am so stoked my phone battery has not died. Solid win. But if you guys have questions, start dropping them in. I want to answer any questions that you guys have now, or if you are coming in late and you want to watch the beginning of this and then drop them in the comments or shoot me a DM later, completely fine. I'm an open book. I'll tell you what I've learned, what I've done wrong, what really works well now. If you want a whole thing on a lot of things that I did wrong, another coach, Allie, and I, it was probably a few months back by now, if you scroll the IGTV feed, there's a whole bunch of just macro tracking mistakes and what not to do. We talked for about an hour just joking about the things we did wrong, but what we learned from it and why we're so much of a better coach right now. So I don't see any questions dropping in. So thank you guys so much for watching. This was basically kind of how I learned what macros were. I used it to lose weight and get the body of my dreams, but then I took it a little bit too far, and how now I use it as a balanced part of my lifestyle, and it's not so black and white, you meet your goals or you don't. A little effort and a little intention with what you're doing goes a long way, and you just really need to embrace the close enough is good enough, and you're going to win some days, and some days are just going to completely slam into your face, and that's okay, because it's about a flexible lifestyle, not I am on a diet, I am off a diet, I am perfect, I am not. It is not that, because I lived that for a very long time, and I promise it is not fun. You are so welcome. Thank you guys for watching. Again, don't hesitate. Any questions, anything I can help you with, please, please, please reach out. I'm happy to help. And now it is dinner time. Bye, guys.